So electric current in conductors, कितने करंट होंगे और कंडक्टर के थ्रू करंट कैसे पास होता है, ये जनरल आइडिया हमें है कि when electron moves from negative to positive, the current moves from positive to negative. So the real source of flow of current through a conductor is the motion of charge. But is it actually the case? Right? When a complete electron from negative terminal 2 moves to the positive terminal, that only will the current moves in the opposite direction. Is that the case? Or is there something else that plays the role? Yes. What is that? That is electric field. Electric field inside a conductor created because of the potential difference applied with the help of battery. This electric field induces the electron to move in a single direction, in a unified direction. Otherwise, if not connected to a battery, the electron still moves but moves in a random direction, and the resultant current is equals to 0. And hence, the field that is created inside a conductor results in flow of current. Now, when observe this property, we have discussed that the voltage is directly proportional to current. The greater the potential applied to a conductor, the greater is the current flowing through the conductor. And it was G.S. Ohm in 1828 who discovered that voltage is directly proportional to current. So if you remove the proportionality, you will be left with a term that is resistance. That resistance is a constant of proportionality in Ohm's law. But it is the constant. It is the constant that we think of? No, it's not. Because we know that resistance also depends on two different other factors. What are those factors? Those factors are the length of the conductor as well as the area of cross section of the conductor. So, if I do the small mathematics, we know that the resistance is proportional to the length of the conductor. Resistance is also proportional to the, but inversely proportional to the area of the conductor, cross section area of the conductor. And both together, when combined this term with this, you end up with R proportional to L upon A. Again, if you remove the proportionality, you get another value. So we can clearly see that R is not independent or a constant, but depends on the length and area of the conductor. And another constant, which is resistivity. So we need to switch our formula and substitute the value of R in Ohm's law, and you will get that V is now equals to I rho L upon A. Here I upon A. Now I upon A is been given another term which is known as current density. The SI unit of current density is ampere per meter square, because it's I upon A. So if that is equal to I upon J is equal to I upon A, this equation becomes J sigma L. But we have relation of electric field with potential. What is that? V is equals to E into L. So instead of V over here, what we will substitute? E into L. So this L term and L get cancelled. So what we will left with? We are now left with the value J E is equals to J rho, and this value is this equation is the next form of, or the basic form of Ohm's law. Voltage depends on electric field, and current through area or the current density are the new terms in which Ohm's law can be stated. E is equals to J rho, and rho is the characteristic resistivity of the material. It is not dependent on area, it is not dependent on length, and that's the new form of Ohm's law. In the next step, you can see J is also written as sigma E, where this sigma is equals to 1 upon rho, and that 1 upon rho or sigma is called as conductivity. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Next, drift of electron and the origin of resistivity. Now, the next topic deals with the origin of how the resistivity happens. What are the factors that causes resistivity? So, initially, we assume that there are n numbers of electrons. In a conductor, there are n numbers of electrons. Those electrons are moving in all the various directions, and because of that, the average velocity of all the electron is equals to 0. If the average velocity of all the electron is equals to 0, then consider a situation, okay, where now we are applying the battery. So there will be creation of electric field, and force due to electric field is equals to Q times E, and here that charge is equals to electron, so we can write it as E, charge of electron, times the electric field. Also, formula for force is also equals to mass into acceleration. Comparing mass into acceleration with the charge of acceleration into electric field, what we end up with? We will end up with this formula. Here minus sign will come. Why? Because it's an electron which is a negatively charged. So mass into acceleration is equal to minus c into e, and that gives us the value a is equals to minus e upon m, where small m is the mass of electron. Okay. Now, if there is some acceleration given to the charge, so it will change its velocity. Now that change in velocity is termed as VI, capital VI. And since all the electron had initially some velocity, but the directions are different, that will be added with the acceleration times the time acceleration multiplied by the time interval that we will take for the measurement, that is t1. Now this is the velocity change in one electron. We have to find the aggregate velocity of all the electrons, the total velocity of all the electrons. So what will be the total velocity of all electrons? That will be equal to the average velocity of each and every electron, which is equal to the average velocity of previously velocity of electron and the average of the total acceleration provided to each and every electron in the system. But for the initial case, the Vi average was equals to 0 over here. So this quantity becomes 0. Or the only factor that remains effective is minus E upon M into T1 average. But the T1 average is now written as tau, and that tau is known as relaxation time. And what is relaxation time? It is the time interval between two successive collision of an electron. Okay. Okay. So that velocity or time interval tau is the deciding factor of the resistivity. You see, when you have E, that's charge of electron, that's constant. M, that's the mass of electron. Only variable thing here are capital E and small tau. So now if you compare this is the velocity, okay? Now you compare this quantity with the amount of charge that will flow through the magnitude, through the conductor. So from the basic formula, we have Q is equals to I delta T, where delta T is the time interval between which we are observing the change of electron state passing through that particular area. Now, on the other side, this must be equal to the charge per unit volume of the conductor times, sorry, charge means number of charge per unit volume multiplied by the charge of one electron times the area through which the charge is moving and for how long, and that length will be given by drift velocity times the time interval. On the both side, if you see, if I take A to that side, that will be ratio of current with time. Okay, sorry, current upon area. That current upon area is known as current density. So, and Vd was equal to minus E upon M into tau, substituting the value of Vd. So, now I is equals to J upon A. Substitute that value over here. The A and A of this value get cancelled. Delta T and delta T get cancelled. You will left with the value of Ne square upon M into tau into magnitude of electric field. Now, if you compare this with the Ohm's law statement, J is equals to sigma E, you get sigma equals to Ne square upon M into tau. So where this conductivity arises from? It arises from the number of charge particles per unit volume, mass of the charge particle, and the time between two successive collisions, that is tau. This value will give you the conductivity of a given conductor, and that's the reason for the conductance as well as the resistance.